It took a while, but I'm back in business. The story with the hunter's wife turned out to be a useful lesson for me. Bitch Samantha taught me a good lesson. I was too relaxed, like most guys, and like most women, Samantha grabbed other people's manhood at every opportunity. My last relationship with my neighbor Jess was a disaster because for all women, new sex is never enough. No more women will live with me under the same roof. From now on, just use it and leave. I put the house up for sale. I thought that the concentration of prey in a residential complex would suit me. I'll be honest, I'm not that good. I'm more of a women's project than Romeo. The key is to make them feel comfortable and then fuck them. The first step to selling your home is to find out what different agents are offering. First, I will say that I love real estate agents. They can be very aggressive to get a listing and make a sale. With my house priced at around $300,000, a good listing agent, just by listing the house for sale, makes almost $9,000 upon sale. By doing a double dip, the sales agent's commission can reach more than $16,500. What do you think an agent will do to get this listing and make the sale? That's right, a little free sex, and that explains all those fancy outfits and the Mercedes in the driveway. This is an option that doesn't work well for men. I knew a few guys in the business, and complaints about women having sex with them for listings were common. In my case, girls did not have to hide and do without a wife. I started interviews. I had no intention of exploiting a female agent when I went online to look for real estate agents. Looking through the photos, mostly professional with a touch of glamour for women, caught my attention. It was clear which of them relied on their external data and never expected refusal. Beautiful women are a special breed, but a woman who knows she's beautiful can be a real bitch. It turned out that there are a lot of bitches with real estate licenses who are not used to rejection. My difficult relationships with women gave birth to my plan. I'll call 6 people and see if one of them would be willing to have sex with me for the listing, maybe continuing this until the house sells. My attitude that all women are easy prey should have alerted me. First, I went for blondes, and I became greedy. The first 6 agents were blondes. I was trying to guess which ones were married because I prefer having someone's wife in bed. I made appointments for the week. The third person I called wanted to come that evening. Nancy was new to the business. After making the appointment, I looked at her. She has sold one house and never put another on the market. It was clear that she might be a little impatient. When she arrived, she was wearing a very nice suit, a nice blouse and heels that were about 10 cm high. Even with the heels, she was quite short. I liked it, and her breasts seemed disproportionately large for her slender figure. I liked this one. As a listing agent, she basically gets a gift. The sales agent puts up with all the hassles with buyers and actually does all the work. It was easy to see that Nancy was nervous. I showed her around the house, telling her about myself, and Nancy made sure I didn't have to deal with my wife. For her part, she was in her early 30s, starting a career after the children were old enough to allow her to have time with the help of her husband, who was a chemical dealer and often away. 4 children came as a surprise to me. She didn't look like a mother at all. 15 years of marriage had almost no effect on her. The declaration of motherhood made me examine her again. The woman looked like she belonged on the beach in a bikini. Finally, my home showing is almost over. I dragged out the conversations in each room as long as I could. I wondered if I could get one of the female agents into bed. Suddenly, I wanted to have this first one, a mother of 4 children and a wife. My husband was an important requirement for me. Having it during the Lenten season, I, in fact, had it too. I felt that this would be something new for her. Also felt that she might offer me sex for the sake of listing. I made some comparisons of your house. I think your price is quite justified. What does it take for us to get this listing? We, you, or your agency? Well, both. But what do I personally need to offer to get this listing? I think it's already on the surface. I still have a few more interviews. I'd like to hear your suggestions. Nancy took a couple steps closer to me. She took a deep breath. I had my listing stolen by women who did more than what should be expected of a real estate agent. I was a good wife for 15 years. Maybe I should look into some options if I want to sell houses. We stood there, so close to each other. Nancy's eyes showed that she could escape. Perhaps she was afraid that she would propose and I would refuse. I think I can make my offer and take a chance, Nancy suggested. Okay, but first I'll get you into my bed. You can't talk to me like that. I'm a married woman. Then she laughed and ran into the bedroom. We tore off our clothes. Suddenly, there was no pressure left. It felt like we had known each other for years. Every move I made caused her to react. She squirmed against my face. Nancy had great sex. It can easily be scored above 8 out of 10. We got dressed calmly after that. Her husband was home with the children, so there was no rush. Another benefit for you, if I get your listing, is that I can visit you a couple of times a week. You don't even get it that often at home. I teased. That's for sure. Nancy laughed. Nancy kissed me and left without mentioning the listing. The next one was younger, one of those career women. Husband, there are no plans for children yet. Hair, makeup, clothes, the must-have real estate agent perfume, a fancy car. This bitch played the women's card every chance she got. I wanted to pour water on her to see what she really looked like. She looked at me and my house like we were crap, and some of that crap ended up in her mouth. Briefly mentioned her husband. By having it, I would be doing him a favor. She somehow settled in and started looking at me and my house like I was a huge dollar sign. Her attitude started to affect me in a good way. I wanted to drag her to bed. I showed her the house. Her name was Sarah. Sarah put on a little show, apparently thinking that a little stretching here and a little show of cleavage there would be enough to get her a contract. Have other agents spoken to you yet? Yes, I plan to talk to a few. Sarah sat on my couch in a position as if she were an easy woman who had been drinking all night. I could see her thigh all the way down to what appeared to be a thong. Would you like to sign a contract with me? This is a rather deep question. Oh, I can handle the depth. I love depth. By this point, her knees were completely apart. You look damn sexy. Was I going to get slapped and Sarah ran out of the room? Did you sleep with any of the others? Yes. That seems to be the standard these days. How were they? Quite good. Do you think I'll be good? Perhaps. Perhaps not. I think probably. This trap was baited. Sarah wanted to be the best. Clothes began to come off. I had a naked real estate agent on my couch waiting for me to pick her up. I had sex with this woman. Will I get this listing now? I told you that I still have an interview. Asshole, I thought it was part of the deal. Oh, is this the first time your gender didn't make the list? The first time I remember. It's so easy with men when I leave them alone and away from their wives. And anyway, how many times has this worked for you? I tried to hurt her. I lost count a long time ago. Thanks to this, I received 2 advertisements last week. Who doesn't have sex with a guy to get a huge commission? The first time was about a house that sold for $70,000. The commission is not that big, but it showed me the path to money. I couldn't help but laugh at this. I've known waitresses who would have sex for $50 and provide pleasure to boot. Sarah finally stood up and gathered her clothes. I need to go home to my husband. Let me know when you're ready to sign the ad. I'll let you again. Sarah was the same bitchy real estate agent again, inspecting my house like she was about to call in a decorator. I watched her ass move as she walked to the car. She showed me her panties as she got behind the wheel and smiled at me. I think I had 2 extremes with Nancy and Sarah. First, and experienced. Unless Nancy was lying to me, women can do this. This isn't the first woman I've fucked after she said she never cheated on her husband. On Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Anna came. I didn't realize I had so many young people planned. Anna was pretty. She was only 19 years old. I didn't want some young girl hunting for her husband running after me like a puppy, but Anna spoke as we looked around the house. She was getting married in 2 weeks. It made me want her. In fact, most women do something that makes me want them. Sometimes it's just being in the room, across the room, in the next room, and so on. I thought that the wedding in 2 weeks would make the girl unavailable. Perhaps, but Anna's group leader must have told her how to get the lists. She did things to make me want her. She later learns that, as a sweet young girl, she doesn't have to do anything to make men want her. Okay? Maybe I already mentioned that I'm 19 years old and getting married in 2 weeks. I wanted her. Dressed up women who look like real estate agents make me want them. I didn't need a plan A or a plan B. Anna had her own plan. Anna was quite flirtatious. She probably thought that this would be enough for me to sign the contract. I was that stupid bachelor. It must have been more than just her good looks that helped her get 6 listings. Nobody does it purely on talent and knowledge without a little help. I wanted to try this young, unmarried bitch before the wedding. The flirting continued with her touching my shoulder and arms. We discussed the numbers. Then she asked for a contract. I don't know what additional services you offer under the contract, but some other agents are quite aggressive in their services. Oh, I see. Maybe I can be competitive. What did they offer? The expression on Anna's face was pure defiance. What could she do? Complaint to your local realtors association. There was nothing illegal about what I was about to tell her. Listing commission is a lot of money. 2 of them fucked me. That's all she said. She gathered up her papers and placed them back in her briefcase, zipping it shut. She stood at the kitchen table and began to unbutton her jacket. When was the last time you were in bed with a 19-year-old? Well, I just assumed that you were getting married in 2 weeks. I left the sentence unfinished. Yes, in 2 weeks. So to hell with it. I'm probably a little groovy. I mean, he's going to be your husband, and he hasn't had sex with you yet. I see your listings, and I have to say that something must have happened to get them. It was a business. Business is business. As I said, his turn will come, and I will continue to receive my advertisements. By that time, Anna was already naked and lying on the kitchen table. Wow, I may have to rethink this marriage. How do you feel about a young woman? I'm not planning anything permanent in my relationship, but feel free to drop by whenever you want. I smiled. Anna giggled. I can do it. It was difficult to say who was most taken aback by our meeting, but Anna left without even mentioning that she had received the list again. Maybe it was careful planning, or maybe it was pure genius. My last 3 blondes were scheduled for Saturday morning, afternoon, and early evening. Maybe I shouldn't think that blondes are easier to find, but it seems like they are. Joni had an appointment for the morning. Joni didn't look as happy as she could have. It turns out she missed her daughter's soccer match. By then, my own lies didn't seem to bother me anymore. I told her I was interviewing several agents. Not that each of them weren't living their lies, thinking like ignorant husbands, their wives used their intelligence and charm to get on the list, rather than in the more receptive place between their legs. Joni seemed determined to miss her daughter's game. After showing her the house, she used most of her feminine mannerisms to try to convince me that she was still a sexy mother of 5 worthy children. Now her husband is watching the children at a football match. You said you interviewed another agent? Yes. Man or woman? Woman, has she made any offer that I could match or surpass? Well, she practically laid it all out on the table. I remembered last night when naked 19-year-old Anna sat in my kitchen. Okay, what am I up against? I nodded towards the table. Oh God, again. I just smiled at the pretty blonde. How about we just pleasure you now and have sex later? I would really like to go to my daughter's soccer game. I would like to make a decision. How do I know that you will have good sex if all I get is pleasure? Shit, how many more are you going to interview? I have another one this afternoon. Okay, I lied. It was my lie, but it was a kind of payback. This is about the same as asking your wife how many boyfriends she had before you, and she will answer 3, knowing that there were 9. If she says 9, then it was probably 30. If she says 30, she won't remember the names, and you won't want to know them anyway, because your party girl has had sex with over 100. Joni began to undress. I undressed her. I give her credit for looking pretty good for a mother of 5. but she did have some mommy characteristics. Football was forgotten as Joni lay wild in bed for an hour. I have no idea how many times Joni went crazy. I think she accepted her fate, whether it was the sexiest thing or not. The girl, of course, tried. I had an hour to clean up and relax. Feeling confident, I changed the sheets on the bed. I was watching the game on TV for a bit when Lynette rang the doorbell. Lynette received the Most Perfumed Woman in Real Estate award. She looked good, one of the best in the photos, dressed expensively, and probably with a $200 haircut. I would go out of my way to screw up for her. Lynette walked around my house as if she couldn't wait to get naked and take me. Bottom line, I need your ad. I'll do my best to get it. What? She was already undressing. We never left the bedroom, and she pulled me onto the bed, laying me on top of her. 5 for 5. Stacy was next. The last of the blondes. When I made the appointment, her voice was sexy on the phone, and like the others, she seemed hot and self-centered. She called about 15 minutes before the meeting. I thought my streak was over. Hi, I wanted to ask for a few more minutes so I can get to my meeting. I had a telephone attendant answering phone calls. When I went out to the car, it wouldn't start. Be there, but be a few minutes late, if that's okay. Yes, sure, no problem. Do not rush. It could be something new. Her husband brought his wife to me, not knowing that I might have to get her into bed if everything went according to plan and the way things went for everyone else. She was less than 15 minutes late. The question is what to do with my husband. Hi, I'm Stacy. Sorry I'm late. I didn't look towards the car. I definitely wasn't going to invite her husband along. I dragged her inside. She was still somewhat confused. What about your husband? Does he want to go out for a drink and come back when you call or something? Oh no, he brought the children. They will just sit in the car and wait. These are our 2 children and a child. The child is 5 months old. It's probably much easier to just wait in the car with them. I probably should have invited them in, but the last thing I wanted was for her kids to make noise in my house, and she seemed to think so too. I feel like we're getting nervous, but I think your house is beautiful. Exactly what most young couples are looking for. I wish my husband and I could afford it. I think I need to keep getting these ads. Nervous laughter followed as I continued to show her the house. I really wanted to go 6 by 6. There was something unusual about Stacy. Let's take another look at the master before we talk about business. She actually led me back to my bedroom. Look, my day was ruined, and now there's this whole car thing. So you talked to other agents. I'm sure at least one of them is a woman. You probably got her into bed, so I want to make sure my name stays in the contract hat. No matter how hectic and disastrous my day has been, I am sure that good sex is exactly what I need right now. Could you have some good sex with me? It was sincere. She really meant it. It was the most unusual sex, wasn't it? I couldn't agree more. I laughed. Just remember who had a good time with you when you signed the contract. I promise I'll never forget. And then she left. Blondes, 6 for 6. Sunday, my heart and brain told me that I could give this ad to any blonde. Maybe it was the stupid part of me that had us scouring agency listings for what else looked damn good-looking agents. Some of the other blondes were also pretty. There were 22 real estate agencies in the city. Maybe I could pick one deserving woman from each. I did it with 6 women in 4 days, so I could have gone through the other 16 agencies, getting one from each company, and within a couple of weeks, I would have found an agent for each agency. Brunettes, redheads, older and younger. There was a lot of variety there. I marked 3 when the phone rang. Hello, what are you doing now? Just checking something on the computer. I didn't know who it was, and she didn't give any clues. It was sex talk, and she missed me. It had to be one of the blondes. I didn't dare guess wrong. Finally, a hint. My future husband would rather play golf with his friends than spend time with me. Do you think I should have fucked him? What? And ruined the honeymoon surprise? It was my 19-year-old Anna with a strong body. Can I park in your garage? What? When I arrive, can I park in your garage? I don't want my car to be seen on the street for 3 hours. Certainly. Come. Okay, darling. See you in 10 minutes. Anna arrived at 10 in the morning. After 2 sessions of sex, we rested a little, cooked dinner naked, and then I dragged her back to bed. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I had marked the faces of a couple more agents when the phone rang. I got bored at home. I told my husband that I would go look for homes for sale by the owner to find clients. How about we have a good time for a couple of hours instead? Okay, it sounds good. Do you want me to let you park in the garage? No, it's fine outside. I don't care who sees me. They will think this is a testing visit. I had no idea who was coming towards me when I heard a knock on the door. Opening it, I saw Nancy, my first blonde. Newbie with a laid-back attitude. Nancy was resilient and approachable. Conversation was unnecessary. She undressed. We made love for 2.5 hours, kissed and caressed a lot. Nancy got dressed. I'd rather go back to my family. I'll be cooking Sunday dinner. Sounds delicious. How are you doing with agents? You probably got everyone into bed. I just smiled. Oh shit. How many are there? 6 out of 6. And you made everyone think they could get your listing. You know you can go to hell for this, don't you? It might be worth it. Maybe. Let's do it again in a couple of days. Keep me at the top of the list. The two are back. Nancy and Anna. Anna, with her wedding approaching, came again on Tuesday for a couple of fresh portions and wanted to repeat it at the weekend. She is getting married next week. Nancy was spontaneous. Sometimes she would take time off work, pretend to go to a meeting, or use that fake search for homes for sale by the owner again. Her husband never suspected anything, and I had sex with her 2 or 3 times a week for several months. On Monday, a redhead came to see me and had a real take-me look. She and her husband decided to have just one child, and if this is the body she ended up with, it was a very good decision. This one was the first to insist on signing the agreement. Things got a little ugly when she learned that offering her body doesn't always get her a signature. As she cursed while putting on her clothes, I decided to make a sarcastic remark. What are you going to do? Tell your husband about me. Fuck you, asshole. On a scale of 1 to 10, she wasn't blonde. Tuesday morning, I was feeling regretful about making hair color appointments. After good sex and bad treatment from the redhead the day before, I had doubts about the 10 meeting. There is something to be said about sex in the morning. Maggie arrived smartly dressed and with a clear but friendly attitude. After touring the house, Maggie relaxed and became a little more tactile. We discussed my singleness and her marriage. I offered her a beer and was surprised when she agreed. She was approaching 40, and it showed. Plus, multiple marriages, 7 husbands, 9 children. 2 were still in high school, the rest had left home. She showed me photographs of them and a photograph of her husband. Beautiful girls inherited their mother's appearance. Things were going well. Despite her age, husbands, and all those kids, Maggie was on my must-get-in-bed list. She was 10 years older than my gold standard for women mid to late 20s and 20 years older than 19-year-old Anna. I offered her another beer. After taking a sip from the second bottle, Maggie offered some advice. Maybe I should warn you, after my second beer, I usually have sex with a guy. She stood up to take off her jacket and hung it over the back of her chair. Maggie smiled at me. Maybe we should go to your bedroom for this. For me, most of the work is done from home. As long as I log at least 32 hours a week on the company server, I'm good. And this can be any day, any time, day or night. Maggie stayed with me for 3 hours. I thought about her work. Women did have a more casual approach to sex compared to my mother's generation. The women I knew before, but especially my real estate agents, never asked me to wear a condom. Apart from the arrogant bitch, a condom was never mentioned, and I think this is more for her economic reasons rather than any fear of disease or pregnancy. They all just have sex with me without caring about the consequences. Then you look at families today. Regardless of whether they have 2 or 3 children or half a dozen, You look at most of them with their mothers and wonder who the hell the fathers might be. Then you talk to them and find out that the couple has been married for 10 or 15 years. I would like to ask my dad if he works a lot on the road. Moms seem to be happy with their mismatched children and proud that other people figure it out and their husbands don't. So these were the thoughts running through my head. I didn't want to ruin the mood, but Anna could call at any time, as she said she would arrive on Tuesday. I'm not going to set you up in front of your boss or husband, am I? Oh no, my boss is my husband. What? Maggie got up and started getting dressed. My boss is my husband. We met 10 years ago when my previous husband and I were selling our house. Now he is my broker and we are partners in the firm. He helped raise all my children, although none of them were his. I started having sex with him while the house was being sold. I got my real estate license and here we are. You would think that he would have understood by now, but everything is fine and he has no idea. The wheels were spinning in my head. Maggie was married 6 times and had 9 children by age 38. I wondered if anyone ever caught her cheating. I imagined all the possibilities. I wondered what kind of person I might be to her. Did you hear me? It was Maggie's voice. Oh no, sorry. I thought about how wonderful sex it is with you. I said we need to do this again next week. Is it true? I was a little shocked. I should decide on a listing by then. Oh, it doesn't matter. I can always use sex. It's not that I'm easy to reach. I have sex for listings, but I don't give it to everyone. I feel comfortable with you. The word comfortable came up again. This time from Maggie. I kissed her and watched as she walked to her car. I wasn't sure when I would hear from Anna. She could be busy with a client or maybe having sex for another listing. I logged into the server for an hour or so. Anna called around 3, giving 5 minutes notice that she was already on her way. She was ready for sex when she arrived. The contrast with Maggie was stunning. Compare a woman with 7 marriages and a 19-year-old who is about to become a bride. I hadn't even gotten dressed when Anna started to leave. I worked naked on the computer for a while before getting ready for a late evening listing date. Hey, you're on your own for a while. I have wedding things to do for the rest of the week. We'll have sex on Saturday morning. The fool thinks he needs to play golf one more time with his friends before our wedding. A couple of hours after you take me, I'll be Mrs. Hoosiever. She laughed. What? I thought it was next week. No, this Saturday. He likes golf, so we can count on 4 hours every Saturday. Are you sure you want to get married? It all seemed a little surreal. New husband, and she planned to have sex with me on the side several times a week. Tuesday evening will be my first experience with a brunette and my first meeting with an Asian woman. Her parents were both Japanese. Muri was a sweet little woman, married to an American soldier. They met in California and had 2 very young children. Her husband was abroad on duty. Sales records showed that she was quite successful in selling and renting houses. Frail and short, she had nothing girlish about her figure. As we discussed the house, I asked about her husband. We just spoke on Skype before I left the office. He gets bored and I show him my breasts to encourage him. He shows it to the other guys. When they come back to the States, I'm pretty popular. Everyone looks at me like they want me. What about me? Yes, you have that look too. Muri laughed and her large breasts swayed. My eyes focused on them. Muri blushed and laughed even harder. See what I mean? What's wrong with you men? You seem to be enjoying it too. I didn't take my eyes off them. I don't think they're real. They looked huge and real. I couldn't see a better way to get her attention. If she hit me and left, then she would hit me and leave. I didn't think Muri was the type to hit and leave. My mother looks after my children. I'll be late, but I need you to have sex with me. Almost at midnight, her phone rang and a message arrived. It was from her mother. Where are you? Are you okay? Shit, I didn't want the police to look for her. She didn't move. It usually doesn't take much more than a text message or a call to get a woman's attention. Muri, your mom sent a message. She wants to know where you are. She picked up the phone in a kind of stupor. Stopped at Nikki's for a drink. Better don't go. See you in the morning. Murray. I lay on my back and thought. Murray pressed herself as close to me as her D-cups would allow her. Sound asleep or completely unconscious, she was silent and pressed her naked body to me. Well, Murray woke up before me. She didn't hesitate to wake me up for the next round. She took a shower and started getting dressed. Murray had to return home to talk to her husband on Skype. I was confused. I am very confused. I note that Murray and I never got together again. See, he didn't even call back about the ad. In the afternoon, another brunette came to check out the house. Considering my luck with real estate ladies, get me into bed. It was almost certain. My work required my attention. I didn't want to get fired because of sex. I took a shower after Murray left, and a few hours later I found myself on the company server. I couldn't believe it was already Wednesday. I did enough work online that my bosses didn't say anything. Exactly at 14 o'clock, Laura rang my doorbell. Funny how women can be on time when thousands of dollars are on the line. She looked just like her photo online. You could say it's beautiful, just like the picture. She walked past me when I invited her to enter. At 21, she explained that she worked in a bar while she studied real estate. As a side note, she mentioned that she enjoys working at a bar and tries to work a couple nights a week. A friendly smile followed her invitation to come in. After her flirting and body movements while looking at the house and inviting me to the bar, I was 100% sure that I would have sex with her. Personally, I'm not a big drinker or bartender. She said her husband was a college student who aspired to be one of those upper-class guys who takes wealth out of the country. He was 28 years old, met her in a bar, and then married her. It made me want her even more. Laura did not hide her behavior as a bartender. She spoke a little harshly, and you could tell she liked being picked on. She asked if I had talked to other agents, if they had made any special concessions, and expressed a willingness to get me into bed if it would improve her chances. She looked like the girl next door until her clothes were taken off. Then she called. She wanted more. I spent another 4 hours on the server, took a break, and my mind was a little confused. Back on the internet, I was looking through photos of real estate agents and found a woman. Thursday. I waited until their office opened and called this woman. Pleasant, soft, sexy voice. I asked her about listing my home. Make an appointment for 1 o'clock. When the doorbell rang, my smoothness has faded a little. I needed to maintain my composure. Susie was everything I wanted her to be. Susie lit up my world. Whatever was wrong with me, something seemed right. Susie will be back. We both knew it. I tried to work online. A couple of hours later, I returned to the real estate companies in search of that one special person. My turn as a damn real estate agent is over. My search for this special agent took some time, and there she was. Her bio said she raised a family and is now starting her career in real estate. 57 years old. I switched between photos of her and photos of my mother that were on my computer. I became her stalker. I searched online for social media and learned a lot about her. Husband, 3 children. Lots of photos with my family. Even a grandson. All her poses seemed to say, "Here I am, come and get me." Her agent records show she has sold 2 homes and has not listed any for sale. I called. We made an appointment for 10 a.m. Oddly enough, her name was Elizabeth and her name was Lizzie. Friday morning. I went to bed late, a little after 9. Perhaps this will make Lizzie's wait seem shorter. When I opened the door, I felt good. I have a son your age. Lizzie didn't look at me like a mother looks at her son. Her smile was sincere. I felt my body moving slightly towards hell. What little she said about her husband said little other than that he was a managing broker at the national real estate chain where they both worked. She went on to talk about her experience learning the real estate business and how her husband did not provide her with any favors. She said both her houses she sold relied mostly on luck. Some girls said sex sells a house. It's even better if sex is listed at home. What do you think? I can tell you that everyone who looked at the house to list it tried to use their femininity to influence my decision. To what extent? I think it's quite. Did you have sex with some of them? I had no reason to lie. I had a feeling that she wanted me to say yes. Yes. That explains why I'm not getting any ads. They are most profitable without working directly with customers. I understand it. That's a lot of money, and they don't sell themselves on the street. It's a pity that I'm too old for this. I don't think so. That's nice, but don't lie to me. I'd be too old for you. Again, I don't think so. You can't be serious. I pulled her towards me and kissed her. 35 years, and I have never cheated on my husband. And here I am with someone young enough to be my son. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? No, are you going to drag me into bed? I moved her onto the sofa and sat her on the edge. Let me take off my dress. Can we go to the bedroom? Asked Lizzie. We kissed and ran our hands over each other for a few seconds. She got up and went to the kitchen. I followed her, both of us naked. Lizzie leaned over and looked in the refrigerator for something to drink. Well, that was fun. It was huge. I'll have all sorts of dreams tonight. I wish we could do it again. Me too, but give me a few minutes to rest. And this too. But I mean it again. I want an affair with you. Lizzie finished her beer and returned naked to my bed. I followed right behind her. A few minutes later, she was in the kitchen, saying goodbye to me. A few more kisses and hugs before she retreated. About an hour later, I was back at the computer working on the company server. I was almost catching up with what I needed to do. I often thought about Lizzie and called her. Hey, just wanted to thank you for your help with what to do about getting my house listed. No thanks. I was just thinking about how beautiful your house looks. I heard her heels clicking on the floor as if she was leaving someone. Her next words were spoken in a whisper. I love you. Oh, I love you too. She turned off the call. I returned to work for the company. Half an hour later, Lizzie called me back. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Is everything okay, what I said? All was good. I'm glad you said that. Well, I meant it. Me too. We have family business this weekend. I want to see you sometime on Monday. Fine. I'm getting married this weekend. I want to see you too. This isn't your wedding, is it? No, I learned better. I bit him once and got scared the second time. I wish I wasn't married, but what would people say if they saw us together? I don't think you look much older than me. I have a few more miles. Well, I want to run a lot more miles if you think you can keep up. The phone went silent. When the phone rang back, it almost scared me. Good thing I checked the caller ID. It was Anna. Hello. I'm damn tired of this wedding. Anna was under great stress. Hey, it's almost over and you'll see me in the morning. Because of my mother and my damn mother-in-law, I'm going crazy. My bridesmaids are acting like fucking children. There was a conflict at the rehearsal dinner, and my dad just decided to talk to me about father and daughter. How can I help? You can comfort me. I'll come as soon as I can get to the car. The next day, the little 19-year-old bride screamed, "To hell with this and to hell with that." When I tried to calm her down, she had already hung up. 20 minutes later, her car crashed into my driveway. She walked past me, turned around, and leaned into me for a kiss. Clothes began to fall off. First hers, and then mine. Anna did her best to undress both of us. In the blink of an eye, it was another kiss and already out the door. I sat and thought about all the women. Friday evening was quiet. Time to think about life in general. What did I think about the events of the last few weeks? Women in real estate were easy to get into bed. Sure, but paying huge commissions while waiting for someone else to do all the work is a great incentive. On Saturday morning, my phone rang. I'm on my way. He had just left with his golf clubs. I can't believe I'll be marrying this guy in a few hours. Soon Anna came and started kissing and kissing. We walked up to the bed as our clothes were taken off. The honeymoon was great. Anna spent a week in Hawaii with her new husband. Lizzie and I got together twice to have sex. I received several additional calls from women regarding the listing. The one with the $7 million husband came and fucked me. Others wrote me off, thinking I had made up my mind. Lizzie and I discussed my choice. She would agree if I allowed her to become my agent for the purchase of the apartment. She said money didn't mean much to her because she was married to her broker. She had an interesting perspective on the situation. Have you ever wondered why agents don't like homeowners to show? As for us, we had sex in many apartments, choosing the one that I liked. Good attitude. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one.